Dock 12 was always noisy. Ships came and went, cargo dropped and loaded, and workers yelled over the hum of engines. Ethan Gray had worked there for 3 years. Nothing surprised him anymore until she showed up. She was small, slim, and always wore a dark, oversized hoodie. Her face stayed hidden in the shadows of her hood, and she spoke to no one. Most workers thought she didn't understand their language. Others said she was just shy, but Ethan noticed more. She didn't take breaks. She never ate in the cafeteria. When others slept in the bunk room, she disappeared into the far end of the maintenance tunnels. No one knew her name. On the worker list, she was only marked as dock assistant temporary. No photo, no species tag, no ID code. One morning, Ethan was walking past a stack of heavy containers. He heard a loud clank, followed by a grunt. He turned to see her, her lifting a cargo crate that normally required 2 men or a power. Lift. And she was doing it alone. Ethan stopped. His hand rested on his tool belt. "Need help?" he asked. She didn't reply. She adjusted her grip, turned her head slightly, but not enough for him to see her face. Hand slid the crate into place like it weighed nothing. Ethan blinked. That crate held mining batteries. It weighed over 200 kilos. She stood up, dusted her gloves, and walked away silently. Ethan frowned. That wasn't normal. That wasn't just a worker. Later that evening, Ethan sat alone in the control booth, sipping cold coffee and reviewing cargo logs. He couldn't get her out of his mind. Who worked that hard? And why hide your face like that? Curiosity pulled him back to the cargo bay. The lights were dim. Most of the crew had gone to sleep. She was there alone, organizing boxes with precise movements faster than any regular worker. Ethan slowly approached, careful not to startle her. "Hey," he said softly. "You never told me your name." She didn't turn. He tried again. "Look, I'm not trying to bother you. I'm just curious." Still no answer. But then she dropped the tool she was holding. It clattered to the floor and slid across the bay. Stopping at Ethan's boot, he bent down, picked it up, and held it out to her. She hesitated, then reached out slowly to take it there. Hands brushed, and that moment, he saw it. Her fingers were long and smooth, but not like any alien species he knew. Her skin shimmered faintly like silver silk. And just beneath the edge of her hood, he saw a glow, soft pale blue, like light behind a curtain. Her eyes. She noticed him staring. Her hand jerked back, and she spun around, hiding her face again. "Didn't mean to," Ethan started, but she was already walking away. Fast. The next day, Ethan asked the station supervisor about her. "Who? The hooded one?" Supervisor Kalen scratched his chin. "Don't know. Federation sent her over a month ago? No complaints, so we let her stay." "Why no ID?" Ethan asked. Kalen shrugged. "She works hard, keeps quiet." "What's the problem?" Ethan didn't answer. Something felt off. Federation never sent workers without IDs. And no species or name? That was impossible. Legal even. That evening, Ethan tried again. He waited by the hallway where she usually passed. When she came by, he stepped in front of her gently. "Look," he said, "I know you're hiding. Something I don't care what, but I saw your eyes last night. They're not normal. Are you hurt? Are you hiding from someone?" She froze. His voice softened. "I won't tell anyone. But you're not safe here if you keep standing out like this. People are noticing." Long silence. Then she whispered, "You should stop asking questions, human." Her voice was quiet, calm, but not cold. There was sadness in it. Before Ethan could say anything else, she stepped around him and vanished into the shadows. Back in his quarters, Ethan couldn't sleep. Who was she? And why did her eyes glow like that? He checked the station's internal database again. No biometric logs. No camera footage. No entry record. It was like she didn't exist, or didn't want to. But Ethan had already seen too much, and now it was part of it. After the strange moment in the cargo bay, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about her glowing eyes. That soft, pale blue light wasn't something he had seen in any known alien race. And the way she reacted, shocked, scared, maybe even ashamed, made it worse. She wasn't just hiding her face. She was hiding her identity. He had to know why. That night, he snuck into the surveillance room during his break. The station wasn't strict. Dock 12 was far from the core planets, and everyone was too tired or lazy to care. He locked the door behind him, sat at the console, and pulled up the last 30 days of security footage. But when he typed her workstation number into the system, nothing came up. No footage found. The screen read, Ethan tried another camera angle. Same result. He tried again using facial detection, hoping. Maybe the system had autologged. Her once or twice, still nothing. It was like she was invisible, or someone had wiped the data. Ethan's heart beat faster. He turned to the emergency feed, a small backup log that most engineers ignored. It stored short clips, glitches, or minor anomalies. And there, buried under corrupted files, he found a 12-second recording. It showed her barely visible in the shadows, walking past an access panel. She looked straight at the camera. For a moment, her hood slipped slightly. Her skin glowed faintly under the station lights, almost like living metal. Her eyes were fully visible this time. They weren't just glowing, they shifted. Circles of blue spiraled inside her pupils, like water spinning in a drain. Then, camera crackled and blacked out. As if she had shut it down just by looking at it, Ethan sat back, stunned. She's not normal, he whispered. Not even close. The next morning, something strange happened. A Federation officer came aboard. Dock 12. That never happened. Officers only visited if someone was smuggling illegal tech or hiding fugitives. But this one walked straight to the command center, asked for Supervisor Kellen, and stayed in his office for over an hour. When Ethan passed by, he overheard a single word from the officer's mouth: containment. It sent a chill down his spine. Later, when Ethan returned to the lower cargo bay, she wasn't there. Her shift had started, but her spot was empty. No tools, no crates, no sign of her at all. Panic rose in Ethan's chest. Had they taken her? Ran to the storage level and slipped into the old generator tunnels, the place where she often disappeared at. Nick's TDIM lights flickered above him. Rusted pipes hissed. No one ever came here, and then he saw it. A small metal hatch slightly open. He climbed down. Below, in the forgotten tunnels beneath Dock 12, he found something unbelievable. A room. Not a dirty maintenance tunnel, but a clean, well-hidden shelter. Inside were tools, dried food packs, and a strange glowing orb hovering silently above the floor. And there she was, standing in the middle of it all, her hoodie off, eyes locked. On him, Ethan froze. He expected her to scream, to attack, to vanish, but she just looked at him. You followed me? She said quietly. Her voice was clearer now, still calm, but no longer hiding. You're not a dock worker, Ethan said, taking a step closer. And you're not from any species I know. She nodded once. I didn't want to be found, she whispered. But now, it's too late. Before Ethan could ask what she meant, the glowing orb flickered red. A warning. Someone else was coming. She turned to him quickly. You need to leave now. Ethan shook his head, not without answers. Who are you? She hesitated, then lifted her hand and placed it over her heart. My name is Vela. I was made, not born. They call me a ghost-class synthetic. I escaped from the place that made me. I came here to disappear. Ethan's mind spun. Synthetic? Like a machine? But she looked alive. Her eyes, her voice, there was pain in them. She wasn't just data. In wires, she was someone. I won't tell anyone, he said. I know, she replied softly. That's why I showed you my face. Suddenly a metal thud echoed above them. Heavy boots. They both looked up. I'll buy you time, Ethan said, moving to the hatch. But she caught his arm. No, she said firmly. I will buy you time. You're still human. You have a life. He stared at her, heart pounding. Then she pulled up her hood again. The girl he thought was a silent worker disappeared once more into the shadows. After she disappeared into the shadows again, Ethan couldn't sleep. The name Vela, repeated in his mind like a warning signal. A ghost-class synthetic? He had heard rumors told in low voices at shady bars near military spaceports. Spoke of machines created in hidden labs built to feel, think, and obey. But Vela had escaped. And now someone wanted her erased. Early morning at Dock 12 was unusually quiet. The regular chatter of workers was gone. A strange tension hung in the air. Everyone was watching their backs. The Federation officer from yesterday was still aboard now, joined by two silent, black-suited agents who never removed their visors. Ethan kept his head down but moved fast. He had a goal. He made his way to the back records chamber and old system storage room most workers forgot about. It was dusty, half-lit, and smelled like burned circuits. Perfect place for secrets. He plugged in a hacked code stick and pulled up the employee logs. Over 200 workers were listed, but Vela's name wasn't one of them. No dock assistant. Temporary. No hoodie-wearing girl. No biometric data, no. Clearance. No scheduled nothing. Ethan scrolled through recent access logs. Then he saw something strange. 2 weeks ago, an unauthorized external entry was recorded just minutes before. Dock 12's cameras glitched for exactly 47 seconds. That was when she must have arrived. Not through hiring, through infiltration. She had hacked her way in suddenly. Loud ping hit his screen. Alert, unauthorized access detected. Ethan yanked the stick out and powered down the console, but it was too late. The door behind him hissed. A tall figure stepped in, one of the black-suited agents. Problem? Mechanic. The voice was deep, robotic. Ethan forced a nervous smile. Just fixing the logs. They've been acting up. The agent didn't move. His visor lit up, scanning Ethan's face. Be careful where you look, the agent said coldly. Are dangerous, even for humans. Ethan nodded and walked out, pretending to be calm. Even though his heart was pounding, he had to warn Vela, but she hadn't been seen since the night. In the tunnels, the only way to find her again was to lure her out. That evening, Ethan did something bold. He returned to the same cargo bay where she'd dropped her tool the first time. This time he planted a small tracking beacon, one that could detect energy fluctuations to week 4. The Federation's scanners. Then he waited. Hours passed. He sat on a crate, pretending to nap. Lights dimmed. Workers went home. Then dash flicker. The beacon blinked green. He opened the scanner. A soft trail of energy was leading down into the lower levels, but not the tunnels this time. She was moving deeper toward the reactor chambers. Ethan followed. It was hot, dark, and full of warning signs. He moved carefully, heart racing. Then he heard it, a voice, soft, tired, speaking to itself. I was made to obey, but I want to choose. I want to be real. Ethan stepped closer, and there she was, Vala, kneeling beside a small, glowing cube connected to the reactor. She didn't look at him. I knew you'd come, she said. You're accessing the reactor core? Ethan asked. Why? Turned her head slowly, because the Federation scan grid is sweeping this sector. I have to shut down their tracelink system before they lock on. Ethan blinked. You can do that from here? He nodded. My design lets me interface with any core, but once I do, they'll feel it. They'll come straight for you, Ethan said. She looked at him then. Her face was calm. They're already coming. Suddenly, boom. The wall above shook. A siren blared. Red lights flashed across the hallway. They breached the hangar. Ethan gasped. Vela stood, eyes glowing brighter than before. Her voice was steady. They're not after you. Run. But Ethan stayed. I'm not leaving, she tilted her head. Why? He stepped forward. Because maybe. I'm tired of watching good people hide, while the bad ones call the shots. She blinked. You think I'm a person? Ethan smiled. You pulled off your hoodie, Vela. I saw more than a machine under it. Pause. Then for the first time she smiled, just barely. Then help me finish this, she said. Together, they turned back to the glowing cube. The reactor chamber trembled again. The cube Vela had connected to the core pulsed wildly, blue light flashing like a heartbeat under stress. Ethan could feel the heat on his face. Alarms wailed above them as Dock 12 fell under lockdown. 3 minutes before the scan signal collapses, Vela said. Her fingers danced across the cube's energy bands like a pianist playing with fire. Ethan stood guard, tool in hand, not much against laser rifles, but it made him feel like he was doing something. Footsteps echoed above. Federation boots loud, sharp, organized. They were coming. Vela, Ethan asked, why did you come here? Why this dock? She didn't answer at first. Then softly, because no one important comes here. No one watches this place. No one remembers it. She looked up, her glowing eyes locked onto his. I needed a place to stop pretending, just for a little while. Her voice shook. Ethan frowned. Pretending what? She pulled her hand back from the cube, glowed steady now, calm, silent. Then, slowly, she reached up and pulled back her hood again. Only this time, she didn't stop there. Her fingertips moved to the side of her neck and touched a hidden point. A faint click, and suddenly, shimmering lines of light flowed across her skin, forming strange alien runes. The room fell quiet. Ethan stepped back, stunned. Her silver blue skin glowed softly, but her face, it was different now. No longer plain. No longer hidden. It was regal, beautiful, sharp, controlled, and heavy with sorrow. I wasn't just built, she said. I was born too. Ethan blinked. I thought you were synthetic. I am, she replied. But part of me is flesh. Part of me is code. And all of me is ... dangerous. Ethan slowly sat on a nearby crate. Start from the beginning. So she did. I'm Vela of House Oxir, first of her name, daughter of the crowned mind. Last. Heir to Shirin Prime? Ethan raised an eyebrow. That's a lot. She smiled faintly. Shirin was once a sovereign planet, beautiful, strong. But during the final cycle war, we were betrayed. By who? By my own family. They sold our throne to the Federation in exchange for biotech. They gave me their own daughter to be part of a peace experiment, half synthetic, half royal. She looked away. I was supposed to be the symbol of alliance. But when I grew older, they saw the danger. My mind was too independent, too human. Her hands tightened into fists. They tried to shut me down. Ethan felt his throat tighten. You escaped. She nodded. They didn't expect me to break through their fail-safes. I used my own neural signature to hack their defense drones. I ran, and for 5 years I've been hiding across junk colonies and forgotten docks. Until you got here? Ethan said quietly. Yes. I thought maybe here I could just work, be no one. But I made a mistake. She looked at him now, voice soft. I let you see me. Outside the chamber, shouts grew louder. The Federation was almost inside. We have to go, Ethan said, standing. You've shut down their trace net, right? For now. But the moment I power up again, they'll know where I am. Ethan paced. So we need to stay dark. Get you off station without drawing attention. Yeah. Vela turned to the cube and tapped it gently. A small metallic band emerged. She held it out to him. What's that? A masking band? It hides life? Signatures, but it only works if we're bonded. Ethan froze. Weight-like. She nodded. You wear this, it marks us as one unit. One signal, no longer two. They won't look for a royal alone if she appears mated to a human civilian. He blinked. Are you asking me to fake marry you? Oh, she whispered. I'm asking you to save me. There was no time to think. Ethan slipped the band on. It tightened around his wrist and shimmered. For a moment, their bodies pulsed. With the same frequency, her glow, its heartbeat dash aligned. Vela looked at him with something new in her eyes. Not fear, not shame, but hope. The chamber doors blasted open. 3 armored agents stormed in, rifles raised, but before they could speak, the scanning drone behind them chirped. Registered bonded pair.
Back worker ID.
Ethan Gray, partner match confirmed. No threat detected. The agents paused. The lead one narrowed his eyes. What's going on in here? Ethan shrugged. Routine maintenance. Reactor glitch.
Oh.
The agent stared long and hard at Ethan, then at Vala, who now stood calmly. Hands folded, hood back over her head. After a tense moment, agents turned and left. As the door shut behind them, Ethan let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Vala smiled softly. You didn't have to do that, he smiled back. Guess I'm just a sucker for trouble. Vala and Ethan stood silently in the reactor chamber after the agents left. The energy cube had powered down. The lights returned to normal, but the storm outside the station had only just begun. Now that we're bonded, Ethan whispered. What happens next? Vala looked up slowly. Now we run. 3 hours later, the alert came through every public screen on Dock 12. Priority notice. Ghost class fugitive. Confirmed in Sector Delta 3. Subject is a hybrid synthetic. Former royal bloodline. Last known alias Vala. All civilians to report sightings. Reward issued for information. Her name was no longer hidden, and neither was her past. Ethan sat in the control booth watching the message loop again and again. Every worker stared. Every voice whispered. Some were scared, others excited. She was working right beside us. Wonder she never spoke. I heard her kind can burn a man's brain just by touching his skin. I heard they eat memories. None of it was true. But fear didn't care about truth. And Ethan knew Vala had maybe 1 hour before someone turned her in. He rushed back to the old tunnels, through hidden doors and forgotten vents. She was already packing a small bag, just 2 tools, the masking cube and a worn piece of folded cloth. Ethan glanced at it. Is that? My mother's banner, Vala said, tucking it into her coat. The last real thing I have from my home. Ethan swallowed hard. We need to leave now. Their only way out was Ethan's old smuggler ship, the Star's Hard. It hadn't flown in 2 years, not since it blew a compressor during a drunken asteroid race. Ethan had left it grounded, half buried in storage bay for sea, just collecting dust. But now it was their only chance. They ran low and quiet through the maintenance paths, avoiding security checkpoints. Every time a door opened, Vala would pause and press her fingers to the panel, silently overriding the system without even touching. A tool. Sheesh, Ethan whispered once. You sure you're not part magician? She smiled faintly. You'd be surprised what pain teaches you to control. They reached Bay for C. The starsherd looked worse than Ethan remembered. Dust covered the hole. Panels hung open. One wing sagged. Slightly. It's not pretty, Ethan muttered. But it'll fly. Vala moved beside him and placed her hand on the ship's core plate. Instantly, lights flickered on. Your ship has an AI, she said softly. Yeah, a grumpy one, Ethan replied. Why? She just told me she remembers me. From when I was still a princess. Ethan blinked. You knew my ship? Didn't answer. Just smiled sadly. Then she whispered something in a strange tongue. Cyrenian. The ship hummed softly in return. Power surged through the engine. The lights blinked. Green. The starsherd was ready. Suddenly, dash. Boom. The bay doors slammed open behind them. Federation soldiers spilled in. But they weren't just agents now. These ones wore gray armor marked with the seal of the Black Corps, Federation's elite purge unit. Vala's face went pale. They sent them, she whispered. They never send them unless it's a kill order. Ethan grabbed her hand. We go now. They sprinted up the ramp, and the ship's AI roared to life. Welcome back, Captain Gray. New passenger detected. Binding signal verified. Running. Stealth drive. Shots fired behind them as the ramp sealed shut. The ship's thrusters kicked. The bay rumbled, and the Black Corps soldiers raised their rifles, but they were too late. The Starshore launched into the void. Outside, silence. Stars blinked. Asteroids drifted, and the ship floated safely inside a dead zone untraceable. Ethan fell back into the pilot's seat. Gasping, Vela sat quietly across from him, still holding the folded banner in her lap. Neither of them spoke for a while. Then Ethan said, "They called you a fugitive. A threat. A ghost-class weapon." She looked at him. "Do you believe them?" He shook his head. "No." Pause. "But I believe they're scared of you for a reason." Vela looked down. "That's because they don't control me anymore." Suddenly a soft ping sounded from the console. A private message came through, encoded, old-style Ethan. Opened it. It read, "If you're with her, run deeper. The galaxy just voted to terminate all synthetics." Ethan stared at the screen, breath caught in his throat. "They declared war," he whispered. Vela's eyes slowly filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. She just said one thing, "Then we run. Together." The Starshore drifted silently through the gray zone between systems far from trade routes, sensor networks, and political borders. Inside the ship, lights stayed dim. No transmissions. No pings. Just silence. But silence didn't mean safety. Ethan sat in the co-pilot chair, boots on the console, arms crossed. Watching Vela from across the cabin, she hadn't spoken much since the Federation's kill order went galaxy-wide. She just stared out the viewport wrapped in her hoodie again. But Ethan knew now what was underneath it. Not just a princess. Not just a fugitive. She was something built for war, and born to feel pain. He finally broke the silence. "Tell me what you are, exactly." Vela didn't move at first. Then, in a quiet voice, "I am Generation 9, Model X1Y, project name, Whisper Spark." Ethan blinked. "That doesn't sound like royalty." "Because that's the name the labs gave me," she replied. "After my family signed me away," she turned, eyes glowing faintly now. "They fed me nanite cores when I was still a child. Grew synthetic tissue inside my bones. Made my brain parter. A part machine." Ethan sat up straighter. "So you're a weapon?" She nodded once. "But the kind that chooses not to fire." Ethan rubbed his face. "Then why did they fear?" "You." Vela walked to the center of the room, "'cause I woke up and didn't obey." With one movement, she lifted her hoodie again. But this time, it wasn't just to show her face. She slid her arm sleeve back and touched faint silver mark near her elbow. It blinked. Suddenly, holographic panels blinked into the air around, her rotating in circles like glowing shields. Data streamed down. Strange alien characters, weapon blueprints, chip schematics. Ethan's eyes widened. "What is that?" "Everything the Federation ever gave me access to," Vela said. "Designs, commands, override codes. I was meant to interface with their systems directly." She moved her hand again, and a small side panel of the ship popped open without touching it. "See? Still works." Ethan took a shaky breath. "Could hack any system in the galaxy. I could, but I didn't want to live as a tool." She walked to him and knelt. "Tell me, Ethan, if you knew I had enough data inside me to destroy a moon base, would you still want to help me?" He looked into her glowing eyes and nodded. "I don't care what they put inside you. You still saved me. You still trust me. That means you're more human than half the people I've worked with." Vela blinked, eyes trembling. Then, for the first time, her voice cracked. "I didn't ask to be this," she whispered. "I just wanted to be someone." Suddenly, alarms blared on the ship. A red warning flared across the dashboard. "Warning, intercept signal detected." Ethan rushed to the pilot's seat. "They found us." "I thought we were off-grid." Vela was. Already standing beside him, "They didn't find us. They guessed the route." The screen lit up with an incoming proximity scan. A ship was approaching fast. No ID signal. No voice come, just a black shadow in space. Ethan swallowed. "Pirates." "Vela's." Voice went cold. "No, they're worse." The enemy ship slammed into visual range, sleek, dark, covered in silent antennae-like black thorns. Vela's hands moved fast. Activating a pulse jammer. We can't outrun them. Then what do we do? Ethan asked. She looked at him. We shut down the ship completely. Wait, like everything. Everything. They powered down the core. Lights dimmed. Oxygen recyclers slowed. Even the heat systems dropped to near dash frost. Ethan shivered instantly. Only the masking band on his wrist still blinked faintly in the dark. He whispered, "Do you think they'll board?" "If they do," Vela said, "they'll look for me first. And if they find me." She looked at him, face unreadable. "I have one final protocol left." Ethan leaned closer. "What kind of protocol?" She turned her hand over, revealing a pulsing red node beneath her skin. "If triggered, it'll wipe my memory and kill everything within a 30-meter radius." "Froze? You've been carrying a bomb?" "No," she said. "They gave me one." The enemy ship hovered outside. Minutes passed. No lights, no sound. Then a knock. A slow, deliberate metallic tap echoed from the Starsherd's outer hull. Ethan grabbed a wrench and stood. Vela didn't move. She only said one word, "Don't open it." The knock echoed again. Tap, tap, tap. Metal on metal. Cold and slow. It's like death asking permission to enter. Inside the Starsherd, everything was dark. The engines were silent. Air systems were running on emergency backup. Frost formed along the edge of the walls. Ethan and Vela stood side by side, unmoving. Another knock came. Ethan gripped the wrench tighter. "If they open the hatch, I'll trigger the node," Vela said calmly. He turned to her. "There has to be another way." Her voice was steady. "This is what I was made for." She moved toward the emergency panel near the door, her fingers glowing softly as she reached under her sleeve. But Ethan stepped in front of her. "No, Ethan, move." "No," he said again, firmer. "You don't have to blow yourself up to fix this. They won't stop chasing me," she said quietly. "Not now, not ever. Then I'll keep running with you." She blinked. "You'll be hunted too. I already am." She looked at him in the cold blue light. Her eyes weren't glowing now, but they were full of something more powerful. Tears. "I've never had anyone protect me," she whispered. "Only handlers, scientists, guards, people who watched me, used me, or feared me." He placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then let me be the first." Suddenly, the knocking stopped. Silence again. Then, clank. The ship hissed as a magnetic claw clamped onto the hatch. They were being pulled in. "No," Vela breathed. "They're going to." "Dock with us," forced the airlock open. Ethan stepped back toward the cockpit. "If they want to board, fine. Let's give them a surprise." He powered the ship just enough to fake emergency shutdown. "Manual override," he muttered. "Starsherd, give me auxiliary defense screen." The ship's AI flickered to life. "Auxiliary shield will last for 0.3 seconds. Recommend alternate plan." Ethan grinned. "I have one." He turned to Vela. "How good are you at bluffing?" She raised an eyebrow. "I've survived 5 years with a death order on my head. Try me." "Good," he said. Like a queen again. As the hatch hissed and opened, cold air rushed in. A tall figure stepped aboard, draped in black armor with the Federation insignia. 2 others followed, weapons drawn. They scanned the ship and stopped when they saw her. Vela stood in the middle of the room, hood down, eyes glowing faintly again, calm, still royal. "You were warned," the leader said. "You knew the cost of leaving." She nodded slowly. "And you knew the cost of pushing me." He stepped forward. "Come quietly, and we'll erase him painlessly." He pointed at Ethan. "Your little helper doesn't matter." "Forward?" "Yeah. Then why are you so scared of her?" The man raised his rifle, but Vela lifted her hand. "Enough." Everyone froze. She moved closer slowly, regalian, till she stood inches from the man in black. "Look into my eyes," she said softly. He hesitated. Then he did. Her pupils spun, and in a blink he dropped his gun. He gasped, falling to his knees, hands clutching his helmet. What did you do to me?" "Nothing," she said. I just reminded you who I am. The others stepped back, panicked. But Ethan had already moved fast. He hit the emergency hatch, closing the airlock behind the intruders. The Starshore roared to life. Engines online. Navigation unlocked. Stealth drive active. Hold on, Ethan shouted. The ship shot forward. Breaking free from the magnetic claw, the blast pushed the enemy ship back into the debris field. They were gone in seconds. Silence returned. Real silence. Not the kind hiding danger, but the kind after a storm ends. Later, Vela stood in the observation chamber. Watching stars drift by, Ethan joined her. She turned to him. This time with no hood, no globe, just her face, peaceful, free. So, what now? She asked. Ethan smiled. And we find somewhere new. Start over. They'll keep hunting. Let them. Pause. Vela, he said, voice softer now. You don't have to be a weapon. She turned toward him. I know. She whispered, because now I'm not alone. She took his hand, and this time she didn't let go.